So this session is organized by Friends of Figma Hong Kong. As you can see in my very scenic background, um, like I'm joined by two guests today. So Eddie and Theo, hi. They will be sharing their journey and learnings from building design systems. So before we dive into our main session, I'd love to introduce myself and our chapter. My name is Samuel, and I'm one of the community leader here at Friends of Figma Hong Kong. I've been a product designer working in the finance and crypto industry. Very thrilled to be your host today. Also, quick shout out to my fellow leader and moderator, Michelle, Joey, Ava, and Elise, who are also online today. So we started the Hong Kong chapter in 2022, and this is our third year. And we have over 600 chapter members in Hong Kong, and we organize virtual and also in-person events regularly. So this sharing is part of the very first Friends of Figma World Tour. So it's a global celebration of creativity and collaboration. It's built entirely by local communities like ours. So connecting chapters in one continuous 24-hour event. I would like to introduce today's speakers. Our path crossed when I was working in these two companies, both of which have very established design system team serving users across the world. Our first speaker today is Eddie Chak. He is currently a senior product designer at OKX, a crypto exchange. Eddie leads a OKDS studio within the OKX design system team, driving scalable design solution across global team of 150 plus designers in APAC and the US. He is going to share with us about his transition journey from a product designer to a design system designer. Our second speaker is Theo. He is currently heading up the design system team at HSBC. Over his past 7 years, he has been building up a design system culture in the bank. He is going to talk about building design system with a product mindset and 3 key learnings along the way. And after the end of the sharing, we will also have a Q&A session. And like the best question answer, we'll also have a small gift. So stay till the very end. We'll start the Q&A panel quickly after the sharing starts. So feel free to drop in your questions anytime and vote for questions you would like our speakers to answer. So let's start, and I'll pass the control to Eddie.
group in a card list on the page. So from atoms like molecules like algorithm, template and page. So like we are expanding from one element to have more and more for different usages. So we can start building a system based on a scale. And second insight, based on my daily observation with my design fellows, is a solution should be scalable, not just one-off. So I know, from the product perspective, we always have so many problems that you need to solve by design. But however, I always found designers are missing one part into their design thinking process. So is existing thing can be reused? If I'm using what is existing properly, or if I need to create something new, how can I even start it? So I think this is really important to have this in our mind. It's because if everyone only thinks of their own solution, and you will end up creating a bigger problem that needs to spend bigger effort to address. And this is why an ideal solution should be include scalability and flexibility. So this can help us to generate a logic to make it more systematic. And you may say in that sense, design system is limiting our creativity. Is that true? I would say this constraint should be a part of the product requirement by default. And having a solution to cater this constraint should be what we call a true creativity. But there's no absolute right or wrong answer for solution. So the key point is about your rationale, and as long as you have a logic that caters scalability and flexibility, and this solution should be considered further. And this is actually what our design system designer is working on currently. And meanwhile, even if you know how to use the component, and there could be still some sort of chances of causing inconsistent experience due to some sort of ambiguities. Like giving our live example here at OKS. So we have Coachma, dialogue, tooltip, and bottom sheets to provide additional content as a supplement for users. But of course, we know the definition of each component and also the purpose of the usage. But when designers work in silo based on their own experience and preference, it's likely to create an issue with inconsistency that also need to take effort and create solutions for our user. Confusion to our users. Meanwhile, even if you use your component, there could be still a chance of causing some sort of inconsistency here. So that's why we need to have a guideline to talk about the definition, to frame them, and then also with the usage to make them more governance. And then we can further provide more context based on the design scenarios, and then also document from the production to create do's and don'ts for instructions. And more importantly, this documentation representing a scalable solution with our thoughtful research and also rationale, not just one-off solutions. So the last one we have is design system is built as a product, as a service. So the more I work on the system assets, the more I start realizing, design system designer is still considering as a product designer, because the elements here is actually requiring certain product design skills to compete. Just thinking about the process at the different dimension only. So compared to a product designer drawing into a specific feature vertical with the domain knowledges in parallel, I think you, the design system designer, need to be more able to oversee things horizontally in order to have a better quality control across the products. So our role and ways of working are pretty much similar to achieve our product visions and goals. So on top of that, we also focus on delivering our product as a service. I think we are not we are pretty familiar with consistency and efficiency, as the goal or vision for design system. I think consistency and efficiency are something that we always keep in mind in order to pick our impact. But you may have another question, so consistency takes time, and efficiency requires more speed. So these are conflicting, but I think I would implement, I will interpret this like efficiency in a different way. So another live example we have is like we find out there's a tons of like fragmented like bottom sheet styles in our product due to some legacy or working in silo. So this inconsistency will slow down designers to make design decisions because they could be being more overwhelmed by the options here, and then also feeling confused about like no single source of truth to talk about what they should be using. And that's why like yeah, and that's why like we have this sort of solution to consolidate all these sort of options into 9 different types of bottom sheets, and also we create template to further frame them to make sure they will be able to use our bottom sheet without any hesitation, so that they can go faster in their design decision. So in this case, like consistency and efficiency has a relationship that always like keep in mind to make our impact and what we need to do in our design system. Like while I think consistency is the one that we expect to see across all the features in our products, and so we can create more clarity to build trust with our users. It's really important though, like because like we are working in the finance field, so trust is definitely something that is everyone put into our priority. And efficiency is the goal that we aim to achieve the save time and also provide more room for opportunity to our business growth. And this will end up like helping us to boost the production and product into more high quality to benefit our users and also business through a cohesive experience from internal to external. With all this like ideal insight to sort of achieve our goals, I have to admit one thing. So we are not perfect. So we cannot make it without supporters like you guys, right? I mean, like we have with our partners, we have designers, developers, and other stakeholders. So that's why we need to immerse ourselves into more like the creation process along with our stakeholders. So we share, we listen, we learn, and more importantly, we roll our sleeve to participate and make sure this insight can be evangelized in order to empower our team to create a cohesive, efficient, and innovative user experience by establishing and evolving a robust and scalable design system. So here are some of my takeaways and some brief insight about design system. Hopefully, it's valuable to help scale your design skill set and also help to enable your potential to be a design system designer. So I can wait for Theo to share more his DS insight and founding from HSBC, especially it's been 3 years that I left the company already. So there's got to be lots of like interesting changes. I hand it over to you, Theo.
Thank you, Eddie. That's such a nice bridge, nice transition. We miss you. Thanks, Eddie, and thanks for the invitation, Samuel. It's my great honor to be sharing here today. My name is Theo. I am working at HSBC, and I'm currently taking care of the design system in the company. And today, I'm going to share with you guys around Productizer in design system. So yeah, without further ado, let's crack on. The design system that we are taking care in HSBC is called Hive Design System. And it's a design system that for HSBC Wealth and Personal Banking. And it's kind of like providing for quite lots of usage across HSBC. I mean, for those you guys based in Hong Kong, you definitely know HSBC is one of the biggest bank. But for those are not based in Hong Kong, HSBC is one of the biggest international bank across the world. So the design system that we have in this bank is not just going to cater for one HSBC bank, but more like all the brands under the HSBC group, including HSBC Bank, Hang Seng Bank in Hong Kong, First Direct, and M&S Bank in UK as well. And actually not just about these 4 brands, we're also delivering, or should I say scaling the product across all the 20 plus markets, including home markets like Hong Kong and UK and other markets like Singapore, UAE, and many, many others. So it's not just about the scale of product that we're delivering across the world. It's also about the design community that we are serving as a design system. So across the globe, we have more than 200 designers, local and global. based in more than 8 locations. And within the data analytics that we get from our library usage in Figma, right? So on average, every working day, we have around more than 20,000 inserts in a working day. And we have more than 4,000 files using the Hive Design Toolkit. Last year, we have recorded more than 5.6 million total inserts just in 1 year, right? So this is the scale that we're talking about. So on one hand, of course, we feel super grateful for the business stakeholders to get buy-in, to trust design system team to deliver in such kind of scalable project. But at the same time, it's also pressure on us. We really want to make the right move to be the right design system for our design community. So with that, we have been always asking ourselves one question, like, with a design system, what do you want to achieve? I mean, this is a question that actually all of you guys participating in this call can ask yourself. If you're already operating a design system, ask yourself the question. If you are not necessarily operating this system, but using a design system, you can also ask yourself, what do you want to get from a design system, right? So when I ask this question to quite a lot of people, they always come back with a similar word. They say, I want consistency. So I think that is quite important. I mean, that word has been kind of showing up in Eddie's presentation many times as well, right? So consistency is the most popular used word when it comes to design system when we want to get the stakeholders buy-in. We want to show that by using the design system, you can achieve the consistency across our app, across our web products, across all your digital products, right? At the very beginning, we are like all of you guys, we are having the same view, and we start from this keyword and start to operate our design system. And there are some learnings on that, and that's what I'm going to share with you guys about the previous story. We set consistency as the goal and want to achieve that. Of course, we have our design toolkit as a Figma file for everyone to use. We have the documentations that store online that our designers can reference to. And we are going to ask for consistency. So first of all, just in order to monitor that, we set up the review process for any deviations. Oh, you're asking for a new variant of the component? Oh, you're trying to use that component another way? Let's set up a review, and then let's have a look at that. If that's good, we'll add it into our toolkit. If it's not, sorry, we don't recommend to do so. So that's a very efficient, or let's say a very no-brainer kind of a solution to try to achieve consistency, right? With that, we start to try include everything that we have reviewed and document everything that we have kind of seen in the design world. We are adding more and more variants into the toolkit. We're adding more and more documentations telling this is right and this is wrong. And gradually we become kind of like a design system police that's kind of catching here and there, say, oh, you're not using the right thing. Oh, you should consider using that one. And the more we do that, we got trapped into the delivery reviews because we are more and more involved into the design decisions that's within the context that each of the designers need to handle day to day. And we get, like I said, we get trapped, and it's basically not sustainable for us to operate the design system in that way. There's just so many things for us to look at. And to be very honest, it's not just about us as a design system team that we got more things to do. It's the more dangerous thing is about what we have observed from the designers. Basically, if we put too much focus on consistency, we are going down the governance path, and our designers start to feel a bit constrained. And that's, I can really feel from the designers. From our observation back in a few years ago, when we are on that kind of path, we see two types of designers. One type, they find your design system is getting more and more, being protected. It's not really being helpful to resolve their design problems and their needs that they face every day. So therefore, they start to do things that you don't want. They start to detach the stuff. And they start to create their own components, variants, based on some of their work, or even start from scratch, because they believe those are really in the need to supply for their use cases, right? So for this group of people, they find your design system gradually being less and less helpful, and you're just getting ignored by them. Or there's another group of designer. It's kind of like getting into the kind of like culture that you're proposing to them, right? They start to come to you more and more often and check every single design decision, as they're so afraid of failing to follow your governance or whatever standards they have set up. Meanwhile, they start to really really design less, and they're losing the willingness to really make design decisions for the work that they should be owning by themselves. So for this group of people, they think your team, design system team, is more in the position to govern everything, and you gradually become the bottleneck because they want to run through everything by you, and they feel insecure even if they are not running through things by you. I observe these two kinds of designers that's kind of like reacting in such way. So the more we see designers reacting in such way, the more we start to think about what went wrong, and we start to realize that design system is really not here to just achieve consistency just for the sake of it, right? To be very honest, if you just want on consistency, you don't even need the design system. Everyone have the ability to just draw a rectangle and put the label on that and call it a button, which look exactly like what you have shared in the sticker sheet. Design system, really, the reason why people use your design system is here to achieve consistency in efficient ways. People need your help on that one, and you need to be helpful to them. So the moment we start to realize that, we start to change our focus from consistency to focus on efficiency. And the moment when we start to make the change, we start to realize that things start to change a little bit, right? So our current story is that we put efficiency of designers at the core of our thinking. That's what we want to achieve. With that, we really start to pay attention on how designers do their work day to day. How do they use our design system? How do they drag the components from the panel? Why are they using the component in such way? Any business case that they're resolving that we haven't noticed before? Any tooling problem that we haven't really helped them to resolve? All this kind of thing, we start to really pay more attention into their job. And with that, we can identify the areas to help to improve their pain points. Like, oh, we realize that this component is not really properly set up in such way. That component is not set up in a way that you guys can easily adopt into a context, etc., etc. With that, we start to provide the solutions to really speed up their process and really enable them to do the things they want to deliver their journey for the review for their stakeholders. And guess what? Things become easier. We have less and less work. I mean, not like less in a way, but less kind of like communication day-to-day, repeating ourselves about the so-called guidance. In that, designers feel empowered and they know what to do to really take the ownership to create, by the usage of Hive design system, to create their own product. And it's basically a win-win situation for both the design system team and the designers, right? So with that, I think the key message that I really want to deliver today, in general, is that let's say you are operating a design system team. If you emphasize consistency, you are putting focus more on the end outcome, and that may potentially lead to an kind of like authority mindset that promotes the culture of governance. You are trying to govern everything because you are highlighting way too much on the outcome. But as a design system team member, if you emphasize more on efficiency, then you are putting focus more on your user. You are putting focus more on the process that your user deliver their experience. So it's more like a product mindset that really promotes the culture of enablement. You put your user at the core of your design system. You try to help them solve the problem. You try to be helpful. That is the product mindset that we want to kind of encourage everyone to kind of follow. Which, at least from our team, we feel like that's the right kind of like value that we deliver. So with that, I'm today going to share a few of the learnings that based on our past experience running Hive as a product. To be honest, in general, running product, all of you guys in the call have quite a lot of experiences, right? Design system is not having a lot of difference comparing to other general digital products that you need to set up your roadmap, you need to talk to your stakeholders, get their buy-in, run in the agile way. These are all making a lot of sense. But today, I think maybe we can share a bit of learnings that it's a bit unique to our team, and we think it's going to be quite fun for us to share the experience with you guys and see if that's helpful for your team. So number one is actually do your marketing for your design system. We always see design system is just a toolkit or just a set of documentation in team, but actually it's worth doing the marketing part on that. For our case, we call Hive as our design system identity. At the very, very beginning when we set up the team, we are just being called that design system team, right? We don't have a name. People know there's a design system and they just come to us. we feel like maybe we worth having identity. So we actually set up a kind of competition to call out for the names, like what will you name our design system? And then we shortlist and then ask everyone to come and vote. And in the end, Hive become the kind of like top voting name, and we start to call our design system in that way. With this name, we start to create our branding kind of identity with the typography, with the logo type, with all the colors that we kind of like incorporate together as a internal design system identity that everyone recognize that, oh, that's the Hive design system team. With that, we're also applying into some of our promotional materials, posters for online, offline kind of like events in our email headers, and even some of the animations in our presentation slides, which you may notice that that's the one that I used at the very beginning. By doing all this kind of branding and marketing stuff, we really feel like the engagement from our users are getting more and more, right? They start to recognize your brand. They start to recognize you as the design system sitting by their side. And it's actually something worth spending time and think about that for your design system. Create an identity that everyone recognizes. The second thing is to talk to your users again and again. I mean, of course, everyone knows that, but the reason why I want to emphasize here is that you need to talk to your users again and again. One of a key opinion leader in the design system area that I always admire and I really appreciate is Demo. There's a newsletter or kind of like article that Dan shared recently. He's kind of pointing out, how many times do you think a product needs to be advertised for the customer to consider it, right? Meta said it's 15 exposures before clicking. For some of the products, it will be 20 touch points. So with all of this, what makes you think that one Slack post, company-wide email or intranet post is enough to get people to use your design system? I think that's actually a good saying, right? Being a design system operator, you always think that, oh, we already have the toolkit, the documentation, and the communication in place. Why are people not looking at that? But why do you expect people to just see the post automatically and then get your thing straight away, right? So talking to your users is important. Talking to your users in the way that they feel engaged is more important. So of course, in our Hive design system, we of course do those regular channels like sending emails and do the Microsoft Teams Slack channel updates about the release notes. We do those kind of things, but at the same time, we also try our very best to do more online sharing sessions and offline meetups with our designers across the globe as much as we can. And of course, in the situation that we can manage, we're also trying to do these sessions in smaller groups. We're trying different ways to make our user feel engaged, and we repeatedly talk about the information or the best practice that we feel is worth sharing. So designers may not just hear from one topic once, they may hear it multiple times, but we feel like this is actually a good way to connect with the designers. And by meeting them face-to-face, it also giving them the chance to share back to us straight away on their thinking about certain usage or some design system comments. So that's our second kind of learning that we would like to share with everyone. And the last one, the third one, is that we recommend everyone to create your own matrix and share a matrix about design system. So I mean, today we are in Friends of Figma, right? So I assume all of you guys, or most of you guys, are using Figma as the software to operate your design system. And there is a native feature called Figma Analytics, which is available for all the libraries they publish, right? Do take a look at that. I think the Figma Analytics is really helpful to inform design system decisions. You can see all the usage data of the components, of the design tokens, I mean Figma variables. And at the same time, there is also Figma Analytics API available. So in our company, we take the benefit of those API to create our own kind of data points to measure the performance of our design system. So what you can see in the background of the bigger window is one thing that we're tracking our component performance. The x-axis is the popularity of a certain component, aka how many files this component has been used. And the vertical, the y-axis, is how intensively a certain component has been used in one file. So we are kind of like checking how intensively it can be used, right? So with this kind of a XY plot data, it's giving us quite lots of insights on how we prioritize our design component decisions, et cetera, et cetera. And we're making all of this public to all of our design system users so they can also see this. And when I say public, I really mean it, right? I am not just creating a portal there and wait for people to come. We also actively share the insights with our users. So this is a practice that we start to pick up since the end of last year. So it's kind of inspired by Apple Music always having Apple Music Replay 24 and Spotify having 24 Wrap, this kind of concept. And we do a Hive 24 Wrap to kind of like share with our designers the key data that we observe from the design system usage, like the most inserted component throughout the year, the most used icon, which team is using the most inserts throughout the year, and which Figma plugins we're using the most, etc., etc. When we share that in the meeting, and designers start to feel like happy about that, and they feel very much engaged. They love to see this kind of idea, and in return, this is just adding more and more engagement and traction with your design system. You are really stand by your design by your designers. So yeah, do your marketing, talk to your users, and then set up a matrix, share a matrix. That will be the three kind of like relatively special learning from our Hive design system perspective that we'd like to share with everyone. So to close this out, I will share a saying that I think that it's the one that I always remind myself. A good design system should let designers deliver with competence, but not with hesitation. I really hope that every one of you, if you're operating a design system, do remember that and really put your user at the core of it, help them to resolve the problem, help them to deliver in a more efficient way. In the end, that achieves consistency. So that's my sharing, and over to you, Samuel.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you, Theo. I think design system is not just like a UI kit. It can be more something, more empowering, breaking silos, and really making a difference here. We started the Q&A section already. If you have any question, feel free to put it down. You can also browse around and vote for your favorite questions and like bumping it up. We start with the most popular one first. I will go on. So just reminder, we are giving out some to one of the questions. So like feel free to submit your question in the Q&A section. I will jump into the Q&A section now. I think the most popular question, Claire asked, scalability is the direction. However, what are the decision factors your team would consider when deciding to introduce new components or not? Any workaround or suggestion to share? Like deciding factor for whether to include a new component into your design system library. I guess this will be addressing to both of you. Maybe you guys can also share like practices in your company as well. Who want to go first?
Maybe I can pick this one first, and
Yep.
Eddie, feel free to jump in. There's no right or wrong answer on this one. I think design system is really unique because there's no like a perfect design system that's across the globe and everyone have to follow, right? Design system is more solution to a company. So in order to make a decision when to include a new component, when not, I think that really needs to look back to the problem that you're trying to solve. Of course, try to avoid go with too extreme. One extreme is you include everything. Every single piece of UI elements that's showing on screen just include in the design system. I think if you are going that direction, your toolkit will be hugely kind of like increased, and it's very hard to maintain. And in the end, you lose the purpose of design system because it's more important to focus on those reusable, because those reusable components are the more the ones that generate the value. But at the same time, don't avoid go to another direction that's kind of like just keeping the very fundamental thing of atom component, like a chat box, like a button. I mean, you can do so because like I said, every company is facing a different situation. But if I just keeping very little of them, it's hard to for designers to really get the advantage of all the molecules that's already in place that they can just pick and go, right? They still need to create quite a lot of things that they start from scratch or build on top of your atom level components. So if you are in a relatively small team, you can still try to be more on the first direction that I just recommend, right? Start from those reusable components and give it a try, and there is no problem of failing, right? If you feel that, if you observe there's something that's not going right, then take the other direction. But if you are handling a design system that's more for a relatively, big, large scale company, before you resolve this question, you better look into your org chart and see where your design system sits and how are you going to collaborate with the satellite teams, and then draw the line accordingly. I think that will be more practical instead of start and then failing. That will be my take.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. I hope that answers your question, Claire. Next question is from Rhea Espino. Not sure I get your name correctly, but you ask, when creating a design system, which do you usually start first? Focus first on the elements, then build a page, or vice versa? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
we
I think for that, again, I always start the answer with the same thing. It all depends on your product. I, th- I, I think I always hold the opinion that design system is not all the same across all the different companies. It's here to solve your business problem, right? So if you are at the stage where you want to start a design system, you need to go back to your business and see what's the problem they're trying to solve. I think the value of design systems is really to create a consistency across all the things that's being reusable, right? So you can set up yourself a bit of a matrix. The one matrix is how frequently a certain common element has been used. Say, for example, button can be more frequently used across all the products that you are investing into. Maybe some other components are not. Another spectrum, another axis that you can look into is how many variants they have. Say, maybe in your company you have a lot of buttons, but they are kind of like showing up in different UI. Or you have a chat box in a lot of places, but they are relatively all the same, right? So it generated start to create an XY kind of like matrix for you to put all the components in each of the location, and then make a call. If you want to focus more first on the low-hanging fruits that are used a lot, but still it's already consistent in a way, start from there. If you really want to tackle the real problem, focus on the area where it's used a lot and having a lot of inconsistency. So I think this kind of matrix can help you to analyze the problem.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question. There's one very voted. It's on the top of the screen now. It's from Hazel Chan. Any tips or workflows that can help a large company like yours balance the consistency of a design system with the flexibility needed to cater to each project designer's need? And how long to review the document to make sure it is up to date, to cater all platform? Yeah, I guess I would summarize it as like tips of workflow balancing between design, for the sake of consistency and also individuality of each product designers. Any tips or workflow?
That's kind of like why I link to what I just mentioned. So I will share at least just my view. Consistency is, like I said, is the end outcome, right? So first of all, define your consistency. By consistency, what do you mean? Are you just trying to get all the colors in the same hash code across the app, or what level of consistency you're trying to achieve? And by defining that for yourself, you at least will be clearer on what you are trying to achieve, right? So that's one. In terms of drawing a line of what's being kind of like governed, and you have to use this, and in terms of what the other direction where you give flexibility to the designer, again, different companies will have different kind of balance on that. One thing I still believe is that designers have a job. Design system is more here to help them. You are not trying to help them make design decisions. I think that's more the fine line that you can kind of like try to feel yourself. If you are more enabling, like a button, right, which is relatively easy, that you put a button in toolkit, people use that, and people use that in the correct way, then that's the right balance of it. But if your design system is jumping too much into the context-specific decisions, like I'm going to use that component because of this scenario, blah, 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 maybe just remind yourself that whether this is something that you should comment on, right? Design system is more here to enable, not here to just help everyone make design decisions. With that, probably can help you to define a little bit of your own balance in the team. That would be my take.
News back to the other business line for references, like if they need it. And then I think also some of our experiences is we even embedded into their projects to make sure things that can be adopted, they will adopt it properly. If things that cannot be adopted, we will document it and trying to see if that is something that we can think more about, like building it in a systematic way. So and yeah, I think this is sort of like the way that we trying to enhance our consistency. Through, like, I mean, just like through what I mentioned, right? Just like through our participation, like to immerse ourselves into the actual creation process.
Yeah, all good, all good. Thank you, Theo and Eddie. Next slide. So we need to pick one of the best questions. Theo and Eddie. So the winner, like thanks to Figma, best question asked in this section will win $50 Figma gift card and free shipping. That will be redeemable on the Figma merch store. So please DM me your email and I can share the redeem code to you. But Eddie and Theo, what do you think about our Q&A? Which one would be your best pick?
Really? It's our pick? I think Hazel's one is asking quite good. It's also the most voted, I think, right?
Yeah, I'm aligned.
Okay. Hazel, feel free to reach me out after this call. I will give you the gift card. Congratulations to Rachel. Hazel, sorry. So before we wrap up, just a quick heads up on what's coming next. So this is not the end. We still have session going on. Next session will be streaming from Karachi, Pakistan on the topic of design leadership. Also, it will be as well as Koriko, India, about design impact. So please feel free to scan the QR code and then join our next section. And all session recordings will be available in a few days on our official YouTube channel. We will also share links on our website and social, so you can rewatch your favorite and catch up anything that you have missed. And before we wrap up, I really love all of your feedback. So the event is first of its own. It's made by the community and for the community, and your voice will help us shape an even better experience next year. So scan the QR code. I'm going to keep it for a few seconds and share your thoughts about this setup and also topics, and help us to make a better, even better Friends of Figma World Tour experience next year. So I think just to acknowledge all chapters across the world for making this happen. So it's just so amazing, people around the world making this happen, and nothing great is made alone. And like the real impact really comes from sharing and building together. So thank you all for joining for today's session. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.